And even though McAllister, part of the deal was that he wasn't he wasn't supposed to touch her. He had took his fingers and he had put them on top of hers, and he was going in and out of her. And she was like, that wasn't part of the deal. And at that point he didn't care, because that man was so happy he was actually touching her. He has been wanting this forever. So it was like he was just gonna take it. But then she would just she made a comment to him, and she was just like, did you mean it when you said you love me? And he said yes. And she was like, okay then, so I'm telling you to stop. And he stopped. It was like horror, flashed across his face, because in spite of everything, he does love Maris and he doesn't want to hurt her, but he is obsessed with her. You know what I mean? So that was just a crazy thing. And so then, of course, the next morning she tells Royce that McAllister already knows about his plan, and that they've got to try and get some of those board members on their side. And so then a couple days later, news breaks that Ascension is now under investigation by the SEC. And so McAllister calls Maris, and he asks her to accompany him to work tomorrow, as that was part of the deal as well if she lost that chess game. Again, she really I tell you, I would not play that man. So she agrees. And so the next day she rides in with McAllister, but she lets him know, like, listen, first of all, I'm really not trying to have any conversation with you. Of course, he's all happy and he's excited. And she's like, the day might not go the way you think. And he's like, listen, I've secured everything I need. It's going to go exactly the way I want. And so they're going into the boardroom. He tells Maris to wait for him in his office. This is McAllister talking. And he notices that she doesn't stop. Like, she keeps going with him. And he's like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going to the boardroom. And he's like, no, you can't. And she's like, well, yeah, actually I can, because I'm Richard's proxy. So remember, Richard Shaughnessy is one of the board members, and basically she's got some good dirt on him, because remember, he's sleeping with Alice. So he's turned his vote over to Maris. So McAllister's startled, but not that much, because he still's like, I have the votes. I'm not really worried about this. So Royce gets up and he explains why he feels his father, should step down, because he knew that there was a problem with this company and he pursued it anyway. He didn't look out for the, he wasn't worried about the benefit, having, Hale holding as what was important. He was more concerned with winning, and instead now they're involved in something that could potentially truly bring down that company. And so a couple of the board members are like, of course, no, I don't think this is a good time to just remove. So he gets about 2 votes. And then he gets a third one. And then on the other side, they get their votes. And now it's tied. And Maris is the tiebreaker. And actually, the person that shocked him was one of the board members that they thought for sure was going to go over to McAllister's side. But he was like, you know what? No, he's like, I've run businesses for a long time, and you put the needs of the business first, not your own personal ones. And he said, and I don't think he's learned his lesson. So, yeah, I'm a vote no confidence. And so then it comes down to Maris, and now McAllister's like, Maris, don't do this. Like, you don't have to vote. Like, you shouldn't have to choose between family. And she says, nope, I'm going to vote you out. And he loses it. Like, he freaks out. He throws a chair against the wall, screaming to Maris, like, how could you do this to me? People are trying to hold him back. He's like, how could you do this? I love you. And then everyone just kind of stops, because no one knew that this man was like truly in love with this girl. And then he they're like, okay, get security up here, like get the paperwork started, he gotta go. So he gets himself together, he regroups real quick, and he leaves. And then Maris and Royce, they go up to the top floor to celebrate. And it's right outside of the kitchen area. And Alice busts in the door, and she's like, is it true? Is McAllister really out? And they were like, yes. And Alice is like, how did you get Richard's proxy? Like, how did you do that? And Maris was like, well, he got offered $10 million. She offered him $10 million on top of the fact that she told him if he didn't give her the proxy, she was gonna let it be known that he was sleeping with Alice. And so Alice loses it. She had a knife. No one even saw that she had the knife, but she grabs a knife and she lunges at her because she's ready to kill Maris. And of course, Royce jumps in the way, and Alice stabs him. And then McAllister's office is next door to where they were, so he busts open the door, and he looks and sees that his son is on the floor, and he's like, Alice, what have you done? And Alice lunges for Maris again, and Maris is backing up, and there's a balcony out there, so she flips over the balcony. She's holding on to the side. And so Royce, even though he's injured, he's trying to get to her, and he's trying to pull her up. And he actually wound up needing McAllister's help to like pull her all the way up. And then Alice is like standing, and Alice is like, how you could have killed her? And she's like, you taught me to win at all costs. And she's like, as long as she's around, I'm never going to have you again. And so she admits to sleeping with Richard. She also admitted to sleeping with Vance, which startles the hell out of McAllister. And he's just like stunned. Like, this woman's doing all this stuff. And so after she kept saying how she was going to keep coming for Maris, because they knew it. They're like, she's not going to stop. Like, as long as she knows that is, where he wants to be, she's going to come after that girl at all costs. And so he just kind of went berserk, and he pushes Alice, and Alice goes over the ledge. But there was nothing for her to hang on to. Like, she was too far back. She couldn't grab on to anything like Maris did. And so, of course, plunged to her death. And so McAllister then advises, he runs over to Royce. He's putting pressure on the wound, and he tells him, you need to distance yourself from me as much as possible. He's like, we don't need you attached to this scandal. He was like, because the blowback is going to be even harder for the company. And so he says, keep the company for us, Royce. And Royce says, I'll do it. And so the book then moves forward 18 months. And McAllister has pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter. And they gave it to him due to his state of mind after that board meeting. So they gave him 2 years. And that helped keep everything pretty much out of the public eye. It was in the papers, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been if he had tried to take it to trial to get no time. So he took that. He took that on the chin. And that's listen, you killed someone and you got 2 years. Like, that's a deal. And so Maris goes and she plays chess with him once a month while he's at prison. And she feels like, she at least can do that for him, because at the end of the day, he did save her life. Because if he didn't kill that psycho Alice, she was going to get Maris. And so he's set to come out. This is 18 months later. So he's set to come out in 6 months. And so that's where this book ends. And so then the final book is going to be Redemption. And that is going to be all about McAllister. So we are going to jump into that. I hope to have that to you guys by this Thursday. Hopefully sooner. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. What do you think of these characters? Do you like McAllister yet, or do you guys still hate him? Let me know. There's also a discussion board, so feel free to go there. And make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.